The smell of fresh paint should have been my first warning, but I was too busy counting the stack of $100 bills Marcus had left on our kitchen counter to notice my life was about to shatter again. He had breezed in this morning, kissed my cheek, and said, "Something for the household, babe, and a little extra for you." Now, the little extra was looking more like a down payment on a new car. My car, specifically. The one he'd said we couldn't afford last month. "Where's that charger?" I mutter, rummaging through the overflowing everything drawer in the kitchen. My phone's at a measly 3%, and I have a client call in 20 minutes. Marcus is usually the one who misplaces things, not me. The scent of paint, sharper now that I'm concentrating on it, pricks at my nostrils. It's not just a touch-up smell, it's the full-blown, every surface covered kind of smell. When did he even have time to paint? He's been swamped at work, or so he said. My fingers brush against a thick manila envelope tucked beneath a stack of takeout menus. Not the charger, but it's heavy and official looking. Marcus's name is on it, along with our address. Curiosity, that old cat killer, gets the better of me. I pull it out. Global Mortgage Corp., the return address reads. We refinanced last year to get a better rate. What would this be? I slide a finger under the flap, my heart giving a little nervous thump. Inside, a sheaf of papers. The top one is a loan estimate. My eyes scan the figures, widening. Loan amount, $650,000. Property value, $1,100,000. Dated last week. Last week? Our condo, the one we bought together 5 years ago for $700,000, is now apparently worth over $1 million. How? My breath catches. I flip through the pages. Appraisal report. Photographs of our living room, but different. The walls are a cool gray, not the warm beige we picked. New light fixtures, sleek and modern, hang where our slightly dated ones used to be. The kitchen new countertops, gleaming stainless steel. This isn't just paint. This is a full-scale renovation, a flip. He's flipping our condo. Our condo! My hands start to tremble. I sink onto a kitchen chair, the official documents rattling in my grip. He wouldn't. He couldn't. Not without telling me. This is our home. Or it was. Was it ever just ours to him? Or always an investment, a stepping stone? I jump up, a new urgency coursing through me. Where else would there be evidence? His briefcase. He always leaves it in the study when he's working from home, which he has been a lot lately. I race to the small room. The smell of paint even stronger here, mixed with the faint, cloying scent of industrial cleaner. His battered leather briefcase is on the floor beside his desk. My fingers fumble with the latches. Inside, amidst his laptop and a scattering of pens, are more documents. Contractor receipts. Martinez & Sons Painting. Apex Renovations LLC. Precision Flooring. Invoices for thousands of dollars, all paid. Business cards. Sarah Chen, Leading Edge Realty. Mark Bellwether, Senior Loan Officer, Global Mortgage Corp. The same name from the envelope. A brand new glossy property appraisal, the one that states our condo is now worth $400,000 more than we paid for it. He's been busy. So incredibly, deceitfully busy. While I was working, paying my share of the bills, trusting him. The metallic taste of fear coats my tongue. It's coppery and sharp, the kind that rises when you know something terrible is unfolding, something you can't stop. Through the thin walls, I can hear Mrs. Henderson's son next door, his drill whining as he works on his latest DIY project. The sound grates against my already frayed nerves, a counterpoint to the sickening thud of my own heart. He's renovating too, but I bet his mom knows about it. Marcus isn't home. He texted an hour ago. Stuck in traffic, grabbing a bite with a client, don't wait up. A client. Or Sarah Chen, Leading Edge Realty. My mind is racing, piecing together the timeline, the lies, the sheer audacity of it. He refinanced our home, renovated it, and is planning to sell it, all without a single word to me. The money on the counter, was that my cut? A preemptive guilt payment? My shaking hands reach for my phone, still dangerously low on battery. I remember the app Marcus himself told me about. A joke, he said, for catching waiters who spit in your food. A hidden camera app. My fingers fly across the screen, downloading it, setting it up. One by one, I lay out the documents on the desk. The mortgage papers, the invoices, the business cards, the appraisal. I take clear, steady photos of everything, my reflection a pale, strained face in the glossy surface of a pamphlet for luxury staging solutions. Each click of the virtual shutter feels like a small act of defiance, a tiny reclamation of control in a situation spiraling beyond me. Then I see it, tucked into a side pocket of the briefcase. A small, black moleskin notebook. His ideas book, he calls it. I've seen him scribbling in it for weeks. Thought it was for his supposed new project at work. My stomach churns. I flip it open. Lists of expenses, contact numbers, and then a timeline. Monday. Final walkthrough with Sarah. Tuesday, photo shoot for listing. Wednesday, appraisal received. Target, $1.05 million. $1.15 million. Nailed it. Thursday, refi docs, signed. Friday, first offer received. Aim for quick close. Weekend, stage for Monday showings if needed. Next week, close by Friday. And then the final damning entry circled in red. Tell Ryan after, smooth it over, he'll understand. Bigger place next, fresh start. The metallic taste in my mouth intensifies, nearly making me gag. The floor seems to tilt beneath my feet. Tell Ryan after. After he'd sold our home out from under me. After he'd unilaterally decided our future. The nerve, the absolute, breathtaking nerve of the man. My phone, forgotten in my hand, finally dies, plunging me into a new kind of darkness, even as the single, bare bulb Marcus hadn't gotten around to replacing in the study cast long, distorted shadows across the wall, making the freshly painted room feel like a closing trap. The front door clicks open, and Marcus's cheerful, "Honey, I'm home," echoes through the condo. It's a sound that usually brings a smile to my face, a sense of comfort. Tonight, it's like a punch to the gut. I'm sitting on the sofa, the damning notebook clutched in my hand, the photos safely uploaded to a cloud account he knows nothing about. My own phone is plugged into a portable charger I found in my gym bag, its screen showing the voice recording app, active and waiting. He walks into the living room, shrugging off his jacket, a wide, oblivious grin on his face. You would not believe the traffic, and Henderson's kid is still drilling next door, gave me a headache. He leans in to kiss me, and I manage not to recoil, offering a stiff cheek. His cologne, that musky, expensive scent I used to love, now mixes with the lingering paint fumes, creating a nauseating cocktail. Rough day? I ask, my voice surprisingly steady. I need to play this carefully. Tell me about it, he says, collapsing onto the armchair opposite me. This new project is killing me. Long hours, demanding clients. You know how it is. He gestures vaguely. Right, the clients, I say, keeping my tone light. Anyone interesting? He stretches, yawning. Nah, same old, same old. Just hammering out the final details on the Nakatomi deal. He's used that fictional company name before when he's being evasive about work. It used to be a cute inside joke from his favorite movie. Now it feels like another layer of his intricate deception. Speaking of deals, I begin, my heart thrumming a frantic rhythm against my ribs. I was thinking about the condo. We've been here 5 years. Made some good equity, right? He looks up, a flicker of something. Caution? in his eyes before his smile returns. Absolutely, babe. Best investment we ever made. So, what do you think it's worth now? I press, watching his face. With the market the way it is. Oh, a fair bit more, I reckon, he says, a little too casually. Haven't really looked into it, to be honest. Been too swamped. Liar. The word screams in my head. Really? Because I was tidying up the study earlier, and I couldn't help but notice all the improvements. I let the word hang in the air. The new paint, the fixtures. Looks like you've been busy. His smile falters. He sits up a little straighter. Oh, that. Yeah, just some sprucing up. Place was looking a bit tired, you know? Thought I'd surprise you. A surprise? My voice is still even, but there's an edge to it now, a sharpness I can't entirely conceal. Refinancing the mortgage was part of the surprise too, was it? And meeting with real estate agents? The color drains from his face. He stares at me, his mouth slightly agape. The cheerful, unsuspecting facade crumbles, replaced by a look of wary calculation. You were in my briefcase? I was looking for a charger, I say, my voice rising despite myself. And I found a whole new life you've been planning without me, Marcus. Our home, appraised at over $1 million. Contractors, buyers. I hold up the notebook. A timeline. Tell Ryan after. He jumps to his feet. Now hang on, Ryan, it's not what you think. Isn't it? I stand too, my legs feeling shaky but my resolve hardening. It looks exactly like you've gone behind my back, mortgaged our property for its new inflated value thanks to secret renovations, and are planning to sell it without my consent. When were you planning on cluing me in? When the moving truck arrived? The coffee I'd put on the stove earlier, forgotten in the turmoil, begins to boil over, hissing and spitting. The acrid smell of burning coffee fills the air, a fitting scent for the disaster unfolding. Okay, calm down. Marcus holds up his hands, his voice taking on that placating tone he uses when he's trying to manage me. Yes, I've been looking into selling. And yes, I got the refi done. But it's a smart investment, Ryan. We stand to make a fortune. I was going to tell you. I wanted it to be a surprise, a good surprise. Imagine, we could get that bigger place, the one with the yard you've always wanted. A surprise? I laugh, a harsh, bitter sound. You forged my signature on those refinancing documents, didn't you? Because I never signed anything, and you've been meeting with buyers for weeks. This isn't a surprise, Marcus. It's fraud. It's theft. His face darkens. Don't be so dramatic. It's just business. I'm trying to build a better future for us. For us or for you? The words are out before I can stop them. This isn't the first time he's made major financial decisions unilaterally, decisions that always seemed to benefit him more than us. There was the stock market's your thing that wiped out half our emergency fund 6 years ago. The silent partnership in his friend's failing startup that drained our savings for a down payment on our first planned home. Each time he'd been so convincing, so full of promises. Each time I'd ended up picking up the pieces. This feels awfully familiar, Marcus. Your pattern. Big plans, big secrets, and me left to deal with the fallout. That's not fair, Ryan, he explodes, his voice raw. I'm trying to make things right, to give you everything you deserve. By deceiving me, by treating me like an idiot, like some inconvenience in your grand schemes. The trembling is back, full force, a mixture of rage and a deep, aching sorrow. You didn't want to surprise me, Marcus. You wanted to control the narrative, control the money, just like always. You were going to present it as a done deal, take a big bow, and expect me to be grateful. When were you planning on actually splitting the profits? Eventually. He has the grace to look away, a flush creeping up his neck. I was going to make sure you were taken care of. Taken care of, I repeat, the words tasting like ash. I'm not a child, Marcus. I'm your partner. Or at least, I thought I was.
He runs a hand through his hair, his composure shattering. Look, this has all gotten out of hand. I can explain everything. We can work this out.
Can we? I challenge, my gaze locking with his. Can we work out fraud? Forgery? The fact that you see our shared life, our home, as just another commodity to be flipped for your benefit? He glares at me, his eyes hard. You're making this impossible, Ryan. I'm trying to be reasonable. Reasonable? I almost shriek. You think any of this is reasonable? Fine, he snaps, grabbing his jacket. If you're going to be like this, I'm not staying here to be attacked. We'll talk when you've calmed down. And maybe, he adds, his voice laced with a sudden, chilling menace, we'll talk with my lawyer. I'll handle this legally if I have to. He slams the door behind him, the sound reverberating through the small condo. The smell of burnt coffee and his cologne hangs heavy in the air. Legally? He wants to talk legally? My mind seizes on his threat. He's the one who committed fraud. A cold calm settles over me. He stormed out. He thinks he's still in control. He thinks I'll just wait, wringing my hands. He's wrong. While the sound of his car engine fading down the street still echoes in my ears, I'm already moving. I grab my keys, my actual phone, the burner I used for recording tucked safely away, and head for the door. There's a 24-hour locksmith 2 blocks over. He mentioned a lawyer. I'm going to need one too. But first, damage control. As I walk out into the cool night air, I dial. Hi, is this Speedy Locksmiths? Yes, I need an emergency lock change. While Marcus is gone, stewing in his self-righteous anger, I'm changing the locks. He's not waltzing back in here to destroy evidence or intimidate me further. An hour later, new tumblers clicking satisfyingly into place, I'm back inside. The adrenaline is wearing off, leaving me exhausted but strangely clear-headed. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. Mr. Thorne, this is Sarah Chen from Leading Edge Realty, just confirming our showing for Mr. Petrov and his wife on Monday at 10 a.m. They're very keen. Call me if any issues. Monday. He already has a buyer lined up. He wasn't just planning, he was executing. The bastard. He really thought he could just tell me after. The new locks gleam under the hallway light, a small metallic symbol of my reclaimed territory. But it's a temporary defense. Marcus's threat to handle this legally, and Sarah Chen's text about a Monday showing loom large. I need more than new locks. I need a strategy. I need leverage. The first pale light of dawn is seeping through the blinds before I finally push away from my laptop. My eyes are gritty. My back aches. But my mind is a whirring database of information. I've spent the night falling down a rabbit hole of property laws, mortgage fraud statutes, and co-ownership rights in our state. The language is dense, confusing, but I devour every article, every forum post, every legal advice column I can find. Forgery, breach of fiduciary duty, fraudulent misrepresentation. The terms swim before my eyes. One phrase keeps jumping out. Severalty versus joint tenancy with right of survivorship versus tenancy in common. Our original deed, I have a copy in our ancient filing cabinet, states joint tenancy. This means we both own an undivided interest in the whole property. He can't sell it without my signature. Which brings me back to the refinancing documents. He must have forged it. The thought sends a fresh wave of cold fury through me. My lawyer friend Chloe specializes in corporate law, not real estate, but she's sharp and tenacious. I text her at an ungodly hour, a desperate plea. Emergency, Marcus situation, possible fraud, need advice ASAP. To my surprise, she replies within minutes. Coffee? My place? Give me an hour. Chloe's apartment is an oasis of calm, a stark contrast to the chaos of my own. As I sip the strong black coffee she hands me, the story tumbles out. The paint, the documents, the confrontation, the forged signature. She listens intently, her expression growing more serious with each detail. The printer paper I used to print copies of the documents at a 24-hour copy shop had given me a nasty cut on my index finger, a tiny throbbing reminder of this whole sordid mess. Outside her window, a relentless drizzle has begun, mirroring the bleakness I feel. "Okay," Chloe says, finally, setting her mug down. "First, you did the right thing changing the locks. Second, the forgery is your biggest weapon. If you can prove he forged your signature on those refi docs, especially the ones that increased the mortgage based on the new appraisal, he's in serious trouble. That's bank fraud, not just a marital spat." "How do I prove it?" I ask, the exhaustion making my voice hoarse. "Handwriting analysis, for one, but also think about his motivations. Why the sudden desperation for cash? You said he's been swamped with a new project." A cold dread settles in my stomach. Marcus has always been a bit of a gambler. Small stuff, mostly. Poker nights with friends, the occasional sports bet. But what if it escalated? What if this new project was just a cover for chasing losses? He likes to gamble, I admit, the words feeling like a betrayal even now. It's never been a huge problem, or so I thought. Chloe nods slowly. It would explain the rush. Flipping a condo is quick cash if you're desperate. She leans forward. "Ryan, you need to dig. Bank accounts, credit card statements, anything you can legally access. Look for unusual withdrawals, payments to online betting sites, anything that screams debt." The thought of sifting through more of his financial mess makes me feel ill, but Chloe's right. Understanding his motive is key. Back in my own condo, my condo for now, I start the grim task. Thankfully, we always had a shared online login for our main joint account, mostly for bills. I haven't looked at it closely in months, trusting Marcus to manage the day-to-day. My stomach clenches as I scroll through the transaction history. Large cash withdrawals from ATMs near casinos. Payments to names I don't recognize, but a quick Google search links them to offshore gambling websites. The amounts are staggering. He's drained thousands, tens of thousands over the past few months. The household money he'd been giving me was probably just a sliver of what he was taking out. Then, I find something else. Tucked away in his desk drawer beneath a pile of old tech magazines is another, older moleskin notebook. This one is filled with frantic calculations, names I don't recognize next to large sums with IOU scribbled beside them, and dates going back 2 years. My blood runs cold. This isn't new. This is a pattern, a deep, destructive pattern. My mind flashes back to a conversation we had last year. He'd been edgy, stressed, said a work investment had gone south. He'd needed a loan, a personal one, he'd said, to cover a temporary shortfall. I'd lent him money from my own inheritance, a significant sum. He'd sworn it was a one-time thing, that he'd pay me back with interest. He never did. He'd reinvested it, he'd claimed, into something that would yield even bigger returns. Another lie. The anger that had been simmering now transforms into a cold, calculated determination. This isn't just about the condo anymore. This is about years of manipulation, of financial abuse. This is about him systematically bleeding me dry while pretending to be the loving, providing partner. I gather everything. The new documents, the old notebook, printouts of the bank statements, a copy of our original property deed, even the text from Sarah Chen. I create a detailed file, meticulously organized, each piece of paper a nail in the coffin of his deceit. This isn't just for a lawyer anymore. This is my arsenal. As the afternoon wears on, The rain continues its dreary percussion against the windows. My phone rings. It's Chloe. "Ryan," she says, her voice urgent. "I spoke to a colleague who specializes in real estate litigation. He said with the forged signature on a refi that pulls out equity, and if Marcus is trying to force a sale with a buyer already lined up, you need to act fast. He could try to get an emergency court order to proceed, claiming you're being obstructive, especially if he can show a binding offer." "How fast?" I ask, my throat tight. 48 hours, max. If he gets a sympathetic judge before you can file a counterclaim with proof of the fraud and forgery, you could lose control of the sale. He could argue the increased value is due to his efforts and investments, and that you're just trying to block him out of spite. You need to stop that Monday showing, and you need to get something on record officially now. 48 hours. My heart hammers. The clock is ticking. Marcus isn't just a liar and a cheat. He's a desperate man, and desperate men do desperate things. 48 hours. Chloe's words echo in my head, a frantic countdown timer. Marcus is desperate, and if he manages to force this sale, he'll get his hands on a huge chunk of cash, vanish, and leave me to deal with the fraudulent mortgage and his mountain of debt. I can't let that happen. My first call is to Sarah Chen, Leading Edge Realty. I use a burner phone app to mask my number, my voice slightly disguised. Lower, more businesslike. "Good morning, Sarah. This is, an associate of Mr. Petrov. He and his wife are very interested in the condo on Elm Street, the one Mr. Thorne is selling. They've asked me to gather a few more details before the Monday showing." Sarah Chen sounds pleased, her voice professionally smooth. "Of course. They seemed quite taken with it during their private viewing last week. Mr. Thorne has done a fantastic job with the renovations. We have a very strong offer from them, contingent on final inspection, of course. He's looking for a quick close." "Indeed," I say, my mind racing. "And the offer price? Just so I can relay it accurately." "They've offered $1,050,000, she says proudly, "which is excellent, even in this market. Mr. Thorne was very pleased." She then mentions her commission, a hefty 6%. So Marcus was expecting to walk away with nearly $1 million, minus whatever he still owed on the original mortgage before his fraudulent refi. The audacity. "Excellent," I repeat. "Mr. Petrov also mentioned something about Mr. Thorne being motivated to sell quickly. Any insights there?" I hold my breath. Sarah hesitates for a fraction of a second. "Well, as you know, quick sales are always preferred. Mr. Thorne has other ventures he's keen to move on to. He did mention needing the funds cleared by end of next week, ideally." She laughs lightly. "He's a man who knows what he wants." "He's a man in a financial black hole, more like." Her words confirm his desperation. This information is gold. My next step is more audacious. I need to speak to the Petrovs directly. Sarah mentioned a private viewing. That means they've been inside. They like it, but they don't know the full story. Finding them is easier than I thought. A quick search for Petrov Elm Street condo interest, coupled with some educated guesses on social media, turns up Mrs. Elena Petrov, whose public profile mentions her excitement about a potential new city apartment. Her husband, Dmitri, is tagged in a celebratory dinner photo from last week. I draft an email, carefully worded, anonymous, from a freshly created Proton Mail account. "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Petrov, regarding your interest in the Elm Street condo, there are significant undisclosed legal complications with the property and its current co-owner, Mr. Thorne. Proceeding with a purchase may involve you in protracted legal disputes and financial risk. I urge you to consult your legal counsel before taking any further steps." A concerned party. It's a gamble. It might scare them off entirely, or it might make them pause, investigate. That's all I need. A pause. The hours tick by. I barely sleep. fueled by bitter coffee and a growing sense of righteous anger. The leather seat of my desk chair squeaks with every tiny movement I make. A soundtrack to my mounting tension, I replay Marcus's voice from the recording, his threats, his casual dismissal of my rights. Each listen steels my resolve. Sunday morning. My phone buzzes. An email notification. It's from Dmitry Petrov. To concerned party, your email is unsettling. We have a significant deposit on the line. Can you provide any verifiable information? We are meeting with our agent and Mr. Thorne tomorrow morning. He's nervous. Good, I reply, equally vaguely. Information will become public record soon. Suggest you delay any binding agreements. Co-ownership dispute and evidence of financial malfeasance by Mr. Thorne. Then I make another call, this time to a different kind of professional. A private investigator Chloe recommended, someone discreet and very, very good at finding financial skeletons. I need concrete proof of Marcus's gambling debts, something admissible, something that paints a clear picture of his desperation for the Petrovs, should they need more convincing. It's expensive, a drain on my already strained resources, but it's an investment in my freedom. Sunday afternoon, the PI calls back. Mr. Ryan, got something for you. Your Mr. Thorne has markers out with some very unsavory characters. 2, in particular, are known for aggressive collection tactics. He owes them upwards of 50 grand, due by the end of this month. Looks like he was counting on this condo sale to bail him out. He emails me the details, names, affiliations. It's chilling. This isn't just about bad bets anymore. This is dangerous. This new information changes my calculus. I can't just scare the Petrovs off. I need them on my side, or at least not on Marcus's. I need to control the narrative they hear. I emailed Dmitry Petrov again. Mr. Petrov, I understand your position. Mr. Thorne has significant undisclosed personal debts to dangerous individuals, which is motivating this rushed and legally dubious sale. He is desperate. I am the other co-owner. He has proceeded without my consent and forged documents. I am prepared to offer you a private deal to buy out Mr. Thorne's legitimate share of the property, his original equity before fraudulent refinancing, at a fair below-market rate, contingent on him walking away cleanly and transferring all rights to me. This would secure you the property without legal entanglement. I can provide evidence of his debts and the fraudulent activities. Meet me. Coffee. 1 hour. Attached is my direct contact. I include the burner phone number. It's a Hail Mary. But I'm leveraging everything I know. Their desire for the condo, Marcus's desperation, and now his dangerous debts. My phone rings almost immediately. It's Dmitry Petrov. His voice is tense. This is highly irregular, Mr. Just Ryan, I say. And yes, it is. But Mr. Thorne has created a highly irregular situation. We meet at a sterile coffee shop halfway between our neighborhoods. Dmitry Petrov is a stern-looking man in his 50s, his wife Elena beside him, her face etched with worry. I lay it out, calmly, factually. The secret renovations, the forged refi, the gambling debts, the PI's report, which I have on a tablet, copies of the key documents. I don't embellish. The truth is damning enough. He was so charming, Elena murmurs, looking at the printouts of Marcus's IOU-filled notebook. He often is, I say, the taste of bitter coffee sharp on my tongue. I am offering you the condo you want, free of legal battles, at a price that reflects his actual untainted equity. I will deal with the fraudulent mortgage myself once he's out of the picture. You get the property, I get my home back, and stop him from ruining both our lives further. Dmitry listens, his eyes narrowed. And if we say no, we proceed with Thorne? Then I will file an emergency injunction tomorrow morning to block the sale based on fraud and forgery. It will tie the property up in court for months, possibly years. You'll lose your deposit and the condo. Thorne will likely declare bankruptcy, and his creditors, well, they won't be happy. I let the implication hang. He exchanges a look with Elena. The squeak of the cheap faux leather banquette beneath me is the only sound for a long moment. "What are your terms?" Dmitri finally asks. We negotiate. It's tense, but they're pragmatic. They want the condo. They don't want legal trouble or dealings with Marcus's loan sharks. We agree on a price for Marcus's original 50% equity, significantly less than what he'd get from their full offer, but enough for me to clear his most dangerous immediate debts and get him out of my life. They agree to pull their offer from Sarah Chen immediately, citing unexpected personal circumstances. Back in my condo, the silence feels different, charged with a nervous energy. It's late Sunday night. Tomorrow is D-Day. My phone rings. It's Marcus. His voice is a strangled cry. "Ryan, what the hell happened? The Petrovs just pulled their offer. Sarah's going crazy. They said something about complications. What did you do?" He sounds genuinely panicked. A small, grim smile touches my lips. "Me, Marcus? Why would you think I did anything?" I keep my voice cool, detached. "Maybe your smart investment isn't as smart as you thought." "Don't play games with me, Ryan," he yells, his voice cracking. "I need this sale. You don't understand what's on the line." "Oh, I think I'm beginning to," I say softly. "I think I understand perfectly." I let him absorb that for a moment. "Perhaps you should have told Ryan before, Marcus, not after." There's a pause, then a low, guttural sound from his end. "If I can't sell this condo, Ryan, if you stop me, I swear I'll burn it to the ground before I let you have it. We'll both lose everything." The line goes dead. He threatened to destroy our home. My home. The recording app on my phone, which I'd activated the moment I saw his name flash on the screen, captures every venomous word. Marcus's threat hangs in the air, chilling me to the bone despite the calculated calm I'd projected. "I'll burn it to the ground." He's unraveling, and a cornered animal is the most dangerous. But his desperation has also given me another piece of leverage. He has no idea I've been recording him. I don't wait for him to make the next move. I text him, "Marcus, we need to talk. Face to face. Our place, 1 hour, come alone." It's a risk, letting him back in, even with the new locks I can easily open for him. But this needs to end tonight. And I want to see his face when he realizes just how thoroughly he's been outmaneuvered. He arrives looking haggard, his usual confident swagger gone, replaced by a hunted look. His eyes dart around the living room, maybe checking for damage he expects me to have caused, or perhaps for signs of the Petrovs. I've made sure the condo looks exactly as it did when he stormed out, deceptively normal. "What is this, Ryan?" he demands, his voice rough. "What did you say to the Petrovs?" I gesture to the armchair. "Sit down, Marcus." He remains standing, defiant. "I'm not playing your games. I need that sale. You have no idea the trouble I'm in." "Oh, I think I do," I say, my voice quiet but firm. I walk over to the coffee table, where I've arranged a neat stack of papers. The PI's report on his gambling debts, with names and amounts clearly visible. Copies of the forged refinancing documents. Printouts of his bank statements showing the casino withdrawals. And finally, a transcript of his last phone call. His threat. "I know about Vinny the Hammer Costello and Mr. Friendly Petrovich, Marcus," I say, watching the color drain from his face as he reads the names on the PI's report. "I know you owe them a considerable amount of money. Due very soon." He sags, as if the fight has gone out of him, and sinks into the chair. "How?" "You're not as careful as you think," I tell him, and I'm not as clueless as you assumed. I tap the refinancing documents. I also know that this signature, the one that allowed you to pull hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity out of our home, isn't mine. That's fraud, Marcus. A felony. He stares at the papers, his bravado completely gone. I was going to pay it all back, Ryan, once the condo sold, I swear. Pay it back with what? I counter. The money you'd make by selling our home from under me? And then what? Find another investment, another person to manipulate. I pick up the transcript of his last call. And I also have this. Your threat to commit arson, to destroy this property if you don't get your way. His head snaps up, his eyes wide with a new kind of fear. You recorded me? You taught me the value of keeping records, Marcus, I say, a touch of ice in my voice. Remember that hidden camera app you were so amused by? Turns out it's quite useful for more than just spotting rogue waiters. Though in this case, it was a simple voice recorder. He doesn't need to know the specifics. He stares at me, speechless for a long moment. The silence in the room is heavy, broken only by the distant wail of a siren and the relentless ticking of the grandfather clock in the hallway. A clock his grandmother left us, a symbol of family and stability he systematically dismantled. Then, something breaks in him. His shoulders slump. His eyes, when he finally lifts them to mine, are filled with a raw, messy despair I haven't seen since the last time he got himself into a catastrophic mess and came begging for a bailout. Tears well up, spilling onto his cheeks, tracing paths through the stubble he hasn't bothered to shave. I'm ruined, Ryan, he whispers, his voice cracking. It started small, just a bit of fun. Then I lost big, tried to win it back, chased it. It just spiraled. Vinny, he's not a patient man. His tears fall onto his shirt, dark spots blooming on the expensive fabric. He looks pathetic, a shadow of the confident man I once loved. A wave of something akin to sympathy washes over me, unwelcome and unsettling. I remember the early days, his charm, his ambition, the way he could make me laugh. We built a life here in this condo. Or I thought we did. He was my partner, my confidant. That man is gone now. Perhaps he never truly existed, replaced by this broken, desperate stranger. Help me, Ryan, he begs, his voice choked with tears. Please, I'll do anything. I'll change. I swear, I'll get help. I did it before, remember? After the startup disaster, I went to GA meetings. I can do it again. We can fix this. I can fix this. His words, meant to reassure, do the opposite. He's right. He has promised to change before. After every financial catastrophe, every betrayal of trust, there were tears, apologies, solemn vows to do better. And I, like a fool, had believed him, helped him, cleaned up his messes, enabled him. The sympathy recedes, replaced by a cold, hard clarity. This cycle, this endless, destructive cycle of his recklessness and my forgiveness, his betrayal and my reluctant rescues. It has to end, now, for good. There is no way to fix this anymore, Marcus, I say, my voice devoid of the emotion that's churning inside me. The sound of traffic from the street below, usually a muted background hum, seems amplified in the sudden stillness of the room. Each car that passes feels like it's marking time, counting down. You've burned that bridge, along with any trust I had left for you. I lean forward, my gaze unwavering. You have two choices. Choice one, I call the police right now. I give them this file. I tap the neat stack of evidence, detailing bank fraud, forgery, and your very credible threat of arson. With your gambling debts and known associates, I imagine they'll take it very seriously. You'll go to jail, Marcus, for a long time. He flinches as if struck. Choice two, I continue, my voice relentless. is a clean exit. You sign over all your rights and interest in this condo to me, effective immediately. I will use a portion of the legitimate equity, your original share, before your fraudulent activities, to pay off Vinny Costello and Mr. Petrovic, enough to get them off your back. You walk away with a small amount, enough for a bus ticket and a fresh start somewhere far away from here. You sign a legally binding agreement to have no further contact with me ever, and I don't call the police. He stares at me, his face a mask of disbelief and dawning horror. You'd do that? I'm doing this for me, Marcus, I say, the words tasting like liberation. I'm ending this. One way or another. I stand up. You have until midnight to decide. If I don't have your signature on these transfer documents by then... I nod towards another set of papers I had Chloe's paralegal draw up this afternoon. I make the call. Midnight. He has less than 3 hours to choose between prison and oblivion, at least as far as my life is concerned. The choice, for once, is entirely his. But the consequences of his past choices are now, finally, unavoidable. The minutes tick by with agonizing slowness. Marcus sits slumped in the armchair, staring at the transfer documents I've placed on the coffee table as if they're a coiled snake. The only sounds are the hum of the refrigerator and his occasional ragged breath. I stay standing, a silent sentinel by the window, watching the city lights twinkle, a stark contrast to the darkness that has enveloped our lives. He doesn't try to argue, doesn't try to bargain. The fight has entirely leached out of him, leaving behind a hollow shell. I see him pick up the papers, his hand trembling so violently he can barely hold them. He reads, or pretends to, his eyes skimming the dense legal text that seals his fate. Just before the clock strikes midnight, he lets out a long, shuddering sigh. Okay, he whispers, his voice barely audible. Okay, where do I sign? I produce a pen, my hand steady. Chloe had advised me to have a notary on standby, but in this situation, with the evidence I have, a simple signed agreement, witnessed by me, will be enough to initiate the legal transfer, especially given his other option. He signs his name, the once bold flourish now a shaky, defeated scrawl, across all the necessary lines. He signs away his rights to the home we built together, his claim to any of its value beyond what I'm offering. He signs away his presence in my life. The moment his pen lifts from the last signature, a strange sense of anticlimax washes over me. There's no triumph, just a vast, aching emptiness and a profound weariness. True to my word, the next morning, I contact a specialist firm Chloe recommended, one that handles delicate financial negotiations. I wire them the agreed-upon sum to settle Marcus's debts with Vinny Costello and Mr. Petrovic. They assure me it will be handled discreetly and effectively. Marcus, it seems, will live to gamble another day, just not with my money or my future. I give him the small amount of cash we agreed upon, enough for him to disappear. He takes it without meeting my eyes, his shoulders stooped. He packs a single duffel bag with a few clothes, his laptop, and that damned moleskin notebook. As he stands at the door, keys to his car, the one I mostly paid for, in hand, he hesitates. "Ryan," he begins, his voice thick with unshed tears. I am sorry. For everything." I look at him, really look at him, perhaps for the last time. The remorse in his eyes seems genuine, for what it's worth. But sorry doesn't unwind years of deceit. Sorry doesn't unforge a signature. Sorry doesn't heal the deep wounds he's inflicted. "Goodbye, Marcus," I say, my voice flat. There's nothing else to say. He nods, a single jerky movement, then turns and walks out of my life. The silence after his car pulls away from the curb is the loudest sound I've ever heard. It's a silence filled with relief, with grief, with the terrifying, exhilarating prospect of an unknown future. The days that follow are a blur of legalities and logistics. I meet with Chloe and her real estate colleague. We file the transfer documents. We contact Global Mortgage Corp, presenting them with the evidence of the forged signature on the refinancing. They aren't happy, but faced with undeniable fraud, they agree to work with me to restructure the loan back to its original, untainted state, holding Marcus solely liable for the fraudulently acquired equity, a debt he'll likely never be able to repay. That's his problem now, not mine. The Petrovs, true to their word, formally withdraw their offer through Sarah Chen, who calls me baffled and apologetic for being caught in the middle. I'm polite but firm. The property is no longer on the market. They sign an agreement with me to purchase the condo at the price we privately negotiated, a price that allows me to clear the original mortgage entirely once the sale goes through. I won't make a massive profit, not like Marcus intended with his flip, but I'll own my home outright, free and clear. That's a different kind of richness. Slowly, I begin to reclaim the space. The smell of Marcus's cologne fades, replaced by the scent of the lemon oil I used to polish the furniture. The renovations he did in secret, meant to entice buyers, are actually quite good. The cool gray walls, the modern fixtures, they're not what I would have chosen, but they represent a clean slate. I can learn to like them, or I can change them. The choice, for once, is entirely mine. One afternoon, I go through his remaining belongings, the clothes he left behind in the closet, the books on his nightstand, the collection of expensive watches he'd amassed during his more successful gambling streaks. Each item feels tainted, a reminder of his betrayal. I pack it all into boxes. There's a local charity that helps men transitioning out of homelessness and addiction. It feels like the right place for these remnants of a life that almost destroyed mine. As I drop off the last box, a sense of lightness settles over me. I'm not just clearing out his things, I'm clearing out the space he occupied in my head, in my heart. The emotional weight of ending our relationship, a relationship that spanned nearly a decade, hits me in waves. There are moments of anger, of profound sadness, of a lingering, bewildered sense of how did we get here? But beneath it all, a stronger current is pulling me forward, a sense of empowerment, of resilience. I faced the worst, and I didn't just survive, I took control. A few weeks later, the sale to the Petrovs is finalized. The last of the legal ties to Marcus are severed. I stand in the empty condo, the keys, my keys, feeling solid and cool in my palm. The late afternoon sun streams through the newly cleaned windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. It's quiet, peaceful. For the first time in a very long time, I feel a sense of genuine peace. I walk through the rooms, the echo of my own footsteps a comforting sound. This is my space now, my sanctuary, my new beginning. I take a deep breath, the air fresh and clean, carrying the faint, promising scent of the future. 6 months later, the condo is transformed. Not just with new paint, a warm, inviting terracotta I chose myself, or the vibrant green plants that now fill every sunny corner, but with a new energy. My energy. I'd initially thought about selling it immediately after the Petrov deal was structured to give me sole ownership, to erase every trace of Marcus. But something made me pause. This place, the scene of so much betrayal, could also be the symbol of my victory, my reclamation. I decided to stay, to make it truly mine. The renovation plans Marcus had implemented were, ironically, a good starting point. But I've added my own touches. Built-in bookshelves filled with books I love, a comfortable reading nook by the window, art on the walls that speaks to my soul, not to a hypothetical buyer's taste. The scent of fresh paint, once a harbinger of doom, now smells like progress, like healing. Laughter, my own, and that of friends, now echoes in the renovated space, chasing away the last of the shadows. I'm thriving, not just surviving. One crisp autumn afternoon, the buzzer rings. I'm not expecting anyone. When I answer the intercom, a hesitant female voice asks, "Is this Ryan? The Ryan who used to live with Marcus Thorne?" My blood runs cold for a second. Has he sent someone? "Who is this?" I ask, my guard instantly up. "My name is Amelia Carter. I think Marcus did to me what he did to you, or something similar. I found your name on an old utility bill he'd left behind when he disappeared from my life a few years ago. I'm sorry to bother you, I didn't know who else to turn to." My heart aches for her. Another one. I buzz her up. Amelia is small, with haunted eyes, clutching a folder of papers much like the one I'd compiled. Her story is sickeningly familiar. The charm, the grand promises, the slow erosion of her finances, the sudden abandonment when he'd squeezed her dry. He hadn't flipped their shared apartment, but he'd taken out loans in her name, ruined her credit, and vanished, leaving her with crippling debt and a shattered sense of self. We talk for hours, sharing stories, tears, and a grim understanding. My experience, which once felt so isolating, so uniquely painful, now becomes a bridge. I show her the evidence I gathered, explain the legal steps I took. I connect her with Chloe, who, after hearing Amelia's story, agrees to help her pro bono to bring a civil case against Marcus, wherever he may be, to at least try and clear her name. Helping Amelia navigate her own path towards legal options and emotional healing gives me an unexpected sense of purpose. I realize that my pain, my fight, hasn't just been for me. It can be a roadmap for others. Slowly, organically, an informal support network begins to form. Amelia knows someone else who was conned by a charismatic charmer. I meet someone at a yoga class who's struggling with financial abuse from a family member. We start meeting for coffee, then for potlucks in my newly reclaimed condo. We share resources, offer shoulders to cry on, celebrate small victories. It's not a formal organization, just a circle of survivors, finding strength in shared experience. It's through this nascent group that I meet Alex. He's a friend of a friend, a quiet, thoughtful man who volunteers at a legal aid clinic. He sometimes sits in on our informal gatherings, offering gentle advice or just a listening ear. He's kind, respectful, and his eyes hold a warmth that doesn't feel predatory or manipulative. I'm resistant at first. The thought of trusting another man, of being vulnerable again, is terrifying. The scars Marcus left are deep. But Alex is patient. He doesn't push. He just sees me. He sees the strength, not just the wounds. He listens to my story, not with pity, but with a quiet admiration that makes me feel seen in a way I haven't in years. One evening, after everyone else has left our little gathering, Alex stays behind, helping me clear up the coffee cups and stray plates. "You've made this place really beautiful, Ryan," he says, looking around the living room, his gaze settling on the framed photo I have of the condo keys. The new set, the ones that symbolize my ownership. "Thank you," I say, a small smile playing on my lips. "It's been a journey." "I can imagine," he says softly. He pauses, then turns to me, his expression open, honest. "Ryan, I know you've been through a lot, and the last thing I want to do is add any pressure. But I really enjoy spending time with you. If you're ever open to it, I'd love to take you out for dinner. Just us." My heart does a little flip, a mixture of fear and a tentative, fluttering hope. I look at him, at his kind eyes, his gentle smile. He's not Marcus. He's nothing like Marcus. "I'd like that, Alex," I hear myself say. The words surprisingly easy. I'd like that very much. A few weeks later, after several lovely, uncomplicated dinners, I invite Alex over to the condo. Not for a group gathering, but just for us. I cook, we talk, we laugh. It feels normal and nice. Scary, but nice. I find myself showing him the space, not just as a home, but as a testament. I tell him the full story of Marcus, the betrayal, the fight. I don't hold back. I need him to know who I am, what I've overcome. I watch his face, braced for judgment, for him to see me as damaged goods. Instead, he listens, his expression unwavering. When I'm finished, he simply reaches out and takes my hand. "Thank you for telling me, Ryan," he says, his voice sincere. "You're incredibly strong." His simple acceptance, his quiet validation, means more to me than any grand gesture ever could. I maintain my boundaries. I'm not diving headfirst into anything. But for the first time, I allow myself to feel a flicker of real vulnerability, a tentative willingness to trust again. The condo, once a battleground, now feels like a safe harbor. It's a symbol not just of my independence, but of my capacity to heal, to grow, to open myself up to new possibilities on my own terms. The decision to keep it, to reclaim it, was the right one. It's more than just walls and a roof. It's a monument to the woman I've become. A year. An entire year has passed since Marcus walked out of my life, leaving a trail of devastation that I've painstakingly rebuilt into something stronger, something more authentically mine. The anniversary arrives not with a crash of sorrow, but with a quiet sense of peace, like the calm after a long, violent storm. My morning routine is a comforting ritual. Coffee brewing, a rich, dark roast Alex introduced me to, the scent mingling with the lingering aroma of the beeswax polish I used on the bookshelves yesterday. Birds are singing their hearts out in the maple tree outside my window, a cheerful, oblivious chorus. This is my life now. Simple, stable, and entirely my own. Then, an unexpected ripple. A message notification on a rarely used social media platform, one Marcus and I once shared. My heart gives a familiar, unwelcome lurch. It's him. The message is brief. "Ryan, I don't know if you'll even see this, or if you'll care, but I wanted you to know I'm in rehab. A long-term program, it's hard. But I'm trying. Really trying this time. I know I don't deserve it, but I hope one day you can forgive me. Not for me, but for you. M." I stare at the words, my emotions a tangled mess. Disbelief. A flicker of the old anger. And then something else. A weary resignation. He's trying. Again. Will this time be different? Does it even matter to me if it is? My first instinct is to delete the message, block him, and pretend it never happened. Maintain the clean break. No contact. That was the agreement. But the words "really trying this time" snag at me. And, "not for me, but for you." Is that a manipulation tactic or a sliver of genuine insight? I find myself wrestling with it for days. Do I respond? What would I even say? A part of me, the part that still remembers the good times, however illusory they may have been, wants to believe in his redemption. Another, larger part, the part that bears the scars of his betrayal, screams caution. I talked to my therapist about it. Dr. Evans has been instrumental in helping me navigate the emotional minefield of the past year. She listens patiently as I voice my confusion, my conflicting desires. "What do you want to do, Ryan?" she asks gently. "Not what you think you should do, or what Marcus might want you to do. What feels right for your healing, for your boundaries?" Her question clarifies things. My healing isn't dependent on his recovery, or on offering him forgiveness he may or may not have earned. My healing is about protecting my peace, maintaining the healthy boundaries I've fought so hard to establish. I decide to send a brief, neutral message. Not an olive branch, not an invitation for further contact, but an acknowledgement. Marcus, I received your message. I'm glad to hear you're seeking help. I wish you well in your recovery. Ryan? Short, to the point, supportive yet distant. It feels right. I hit send, then log out of the platform and delete the app from my phone. That chapter is truly, finally closed. I've acknowledged his effort, wished him well from afar, and reinforced my boundary. I realize, with a profound sense of relief, that I have fully healed from the betrayal. His actions no longer have the power to disrupt my peace. A few months later, Alex and I are looking at houses. Not just browse online, but actually viewing properties. We're talking about moving in together, about building a future on equal terms, with open communication and mutual respect. The condo, my symbol of reclaimed power and independence, has served its purpose. It's time for a new chapter, one we'll write together. As we walk through a sun-drenched bungalow with a sprawling garden, Alex squeezes my hand. "What do you think?" he asks, his eyes shining. "I think," I say, smiling back at him, "it has potential." Later that week, I take down the framed photo of the condo keys that has been sitting on my desk. It's been a potent reminder of what I overcame, of the strength I found within myself. I don't need the physical reminder anymore. That strength is a part of me now, woven into the fabric of my being. Selling the condo is surprisingly easy, emotionally. It's just a property now, not a battleground. It's a vessel that held me while I healed, and now it's time for it to become someone else's home. The profits from the sale, combined with Alex's savings, become the down payment on our new house. A true partnership from the very beginning. As we unpack boxes in our new home, I reflect on the journey. The pain of Marcus's betrayal was immense, but it was also a catalyst. It forced me to confront my own patterns, to learn the value of self-protection, to find a strength I never knew I possessed. It taught me that true independence isn't about never needing anyone, but about knowing your own worth, setting your boundaries, and choosing your connections wisely. And it taught me that even after the deepest betrayals, new beginnings are always possible. The key, I've learned, is to hold on to your own.